Chapter 1. Grace Baker stepped off her plane in Lagos to the midday heat of an African summer. Her dark hair was pulled up, and she wore an old pair of denim shorts and a university t-shirt. She was on her third travel day, and her appearance no longer meant much to her. Still, she couldn't hide her lush curves or the magnetism of her violet eyes. The sun was so blinding, and the crowd so thick, that it took her a few moments to spot her research partner and best friend, Shannon, waiting for her. Shannon, with her bobbed blonde hair, would always look, Grace thought, like a college freshman. Her youthful features gave her an ethereal quality that had not faded a bit since they first met nearly 10 years earlier. "Are you okay?" Shannon asked, looking concerned. "Long flight," Grace said with the largest smile that she was able to muster after nearly 10 hours on the plane. "Is the camp all set up?" she asked as they made their way toward the parking lot. Grace was surprised to see Shannon hop behind the wheel of a rather large ragtop Jeep she usually hired to drive for these sort of trips. "Yes," Shannon said as she adjusted her mirrors. "The preserve had a pair of huts built for us, plus we have access to one of their buildings for our research." "That's terrific! I thought we would be sharing a tent in the middle of the plains." The thought of a little hut all her own was immensely appealing. She loved Shannon dearly, but working with her all day and sharing close quarters at night was a bit much, especially for the year that they were scheduled to be studying the African lions. "Like that time in India?" her friend said with a laugh. "That was a crazy month." She smiled. It had been nothing but rain and mud as they tried to study the local tiger population. "Yes, but it got us our first published paper," Shannon pointed out seriously. "All worth it then," she said as she recalled the waterlogged notebooks they had to sift through to compile that paper. "I think so," Shannon said proudly. "Me too," she admitted. "I suppose that's why we work so well as research partners." "Well, it doesn't hurt that we have lived together and taken every class together since we were 18. After that tiny dorm room and a communal shower, you are going to think your private hut is the lap of luxury." She laughed, recalling the old cinder block walls that they had covered with pictures cut from National Geographic. "Running water?" she asked hopefully. "Nice try," Shannon smiled, "but you aren't far from the well." "Well then, it'll be just like the spa," she said with a chuckle. "You wouldn't know what to do at the spa," Shannon scoffed. "That is true," Grace admitted, laughing. "What are the people like?" "The locals seem great," Shannon gushed. "They really care about their lion populations, and they are glad to have people who care as much about them as they do." "That's great. They could be a big help. How about the other scientists?" "A bunch of nerds live in cabins near ours," she said, pushing her sunglasses on top of her head. "They're here to study elephants." "You can't call people who do the same thing that we do nerds," Grace said with mock horror. "Yes, I can. Plus, lion trumps elephant. Law of the jungle," Shannon insisted. "We aren't in the jungle," Grace pointed out, enjoying teasing Shannon. They had arrived there 2 weeks earlier while Grace had finished lecturing at the university, and she had missed their banter. "Oh, you know what I mean," she said with an annoyed tone in her voice. "Does that mean you haven't found your local lover yet?" "I don't think I will on this trip. The pickings are slim," she said, looking dejected. "No, where is your usual can-do attitude? Even when we were in Siberia, you were able to find that burly, bearded fellow." He had been a mountain of a man, with such a long beard that neither of them were sure to this day what his face actually looked like. "The elephant twerps make him look like a GQ model." Shannon raised her eyebrow to prove just how serious she was. "Well then, our work will have your undivided attention," Grace said with sincerity. Shannon's usual lover always found a way to invade their lives. It would be nice for it to just be the two of them. "Laugh all you want, but it doesn't do any good for us both to hide in our work," Shannon said, taking a serious turn in the conversation. Grace shuddered, prepared for Shannon's usual rant about her lack of a love life. "Hey, I dated that accountant between our last 2 research trips," she said, trying to cut off the conversation before it began. "That was 5 dates 8 months ago," Shannon said with her usual annoyance at Grace's attitude toward dating. "It counts," she exclaimed. "He loved me." And he had. Jerry, a 30-year-old accountant, had been sweet and kind and as vanilla as could be. She was so glad when they got their next research gig and had to leave suddenly. She was fairly sure he would have proposed after 3 more dates. "Yes, and you just barely tolerated him," Shannon accused. "That's not nice," Grace said, pretending to be wounded by her friend's remark. "Neither was leading that poor man on." "I didn't," she cried. "Oh, we both know that you did," Shannon pointed out. "Well, he wasn't exactly thrilling," Grace admitted. "See, even you admit you could use a little thrill in your life," Shannon said with triumph.